Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How are we doing this morning? Welcome in, welcome to the walk, welcome to the talk. Thank you for being here. As always, as you check in this morning, go ahead, put in what time it is, where you're checking in from. Good morning, whatever. VR, Marie. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Thank you for being here, guys. Welcome in. How are we doing this morning? Please make sure, take an opportunity this morning to be appreciative, to be grateful for your experience, for where we are and where we're headed. It's great to see you guys here. This morning is interesting because I'm coming to the realization that people will choose to see you the way best suits the narrative for their life. That's why the poll is what the poll is. It's like, who knows you the best? Because the people who've known you the longest will know you the least as you grow and you change. And this is important because we should all be growing, man. I'm working on it. I'm trying to grow. I'm trying to become the best version of myself. I've made mistakes. I've had run-ins with the law. And by run-ins with the law, I mean, I've been a ward a time or two. My youth was not the most pristine of upbringings. I've had my challenges. I've had my challenges outside of there. I've showed poor discipline. I've showed poor decision making. I've hurt people. I've hurt people unintentionally, and in the past I've hurt people intentionally. I've taken actions knowing they'll result in people being hurt. And then I started to grow. When we're the sum, when someone chooses to see us as the person who is the worst version of us, we can't change it. We can't change that view that they have, no matter how much we change ourselves. So, what does this mean if we really want to work on change? We have to focus on us. We can't focus on the people who are looking at us. We can't focus on the people who are not supportive, who don't want to acknowledge the change. And the biggest thing we cannot focus on, and we must not focus on, do not focus on people who choose to criticize versus advise. There is a major difference. When you notice and you can identify the difference between the people who choose to criticize versus advise, you're making some big steps in life. You're making some significant changes, because when you have the opportunity, when someone shares something with you that is a part of their life, I mean, when they share it with you, you have a choice. But if you choose to criticize versus advise, you are impacting that relationship in a major way. In a major way, you're creating issues. So I want to check some of these messages. Good morning again, guys. Always walk into the future, people. Thank you very much. Snot. Thank you, life is good. I appreciate that. I love that you love these walks. Right now, where I am, it is 4:52 in the morning. It's me. How's the weather? The weather's pretty good. It's less humid than it was here. I don't know where you guys are, but I am on the East Coast of the United States. And right now, in this northeast region. It's a pretty good morning, not too hot, not too humid. It is 6:50, all right. Dedication to have to your morning walks. Thank you very much, I appreciate that. It is a growing dedication that I'm looking to develop. Freeman, all right. Got you. Okay, Freeman, you ain't have much to do with your day. Constructive criticism is important. Direct and immediate feedback shows you care about a person. Right. There's a difference between criticize and advise. And Putty Cat, I don't know if you're still in here, but we could talk on that. As you know, when I get to the top of the hill, I like to show everybody the morning looks like. Take a look at that moon, people. Take a look at that moon in the sky. Can you people see that? Can you see that moon this morning? Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Life, good morning. Everyone say good morning to my beautiful wife. Thank you so much for being here, my love. I need you and your support constantly. So, when you say constructive criticism is important, Alexander, good morning. Welcome in again this morning. When you say constructive criticism is important, direct and immediate feedback shows you care about the person. Everyone uses the term constructive criticism, and it's kind of an oxymoron, right? People try to say, hey, I take criticism well, or whatever the case may be. As humans, we're for the most part not designed that way. There's a difference between feedback and constructive criticism, right? Constructive criticism is saying that I am looking at you and I'm looking at you to identify the things that I find wrong with you, versus feedback, which is I am working with you and I'm looking to help you sharpen the tools that you have specifically asked me to assist you with, or you've shared with me. And so when someone says constructive criticism, it's that oxymoron really doesn't work out well. And the reason it doesn't really work out well is because in order for us to truly understand, right? In order for us to offer someone feedback, one, we have to know where they're going. Here's the major part about it, is anyone who says, can I offer you some constructive criticism, is about to give you their opinion on where they are, right? And what they think you should do to be more like where they are, or where they think you should be. So I'm gonna kind of give you a breakdown of it. Pretty Cat, my feedback is always, I appreciate your attempt and effort, but let me share with you how you can improve. So we're a little ahead of the gun right there, right? And this is why I say that. And I appreciate this exchange. The reason I say that we're ahead of the gun right there is because when we are talking to someone, hold on guys, I did not get this started, all right. When we're talking to someone, or someone is sharing something with us, right? The first thing is, let's understand what they're sharing. It takes time to process what they're sharing. One of the biggest things that we can do to be beneficial to anyone who's sharing something with us is to ask, please share more. What else can you tell me? The question becomes, tell me more about this. What else were you thinking? What are some, give me more details, right? And this camera is all over the place. So why is it important to ask these questions? Well, before we can offer you feedback, before I'm going to offer anyone in here feedback, which is why I always say my information is general, and we need to work together in order for us to work on specific things, right? There are some general principles that can be applied, but then they have to be tailored to you specifically because you are an individual. So when it comes to feedback, if someone's sharing something with you, give me more detail. Let me know, right? If there's any scenario, if you talk to somebody, because trust me, when you go to share something with someone, you never really get to share all the details, which are important. The details are crucial. And that's why I say who knows you best, because as you grow, you change. You're not the little kid you were, right, when you were 6 years old. So your younger sister, so if you're 9 and your younger sister was 6, by the time you're 15, your younger sister is still going to have memories of who you were as a 9-year-old. So if she chooses to still see you as this kid who hurt her or who treated her in whatever way when she was 6 as the greatest guy as the greatest guy in the world or the worst guy in the world, however she chooses to see you is how she chooses to see you. And how do we have an impact on that? How do we change that? Well, one, we have to understand we're growing. We have to understand that people around us are growing. And where there's growth, there's change. And when we grow, we change. And people around you choose how they want to see you. And so when people around you choose in which way they want to see you, and then they determine whether or not who you are now is the version of you that they want to accept, it makes a difference. So that difference between constructive criticism and feedback is understanding. This is huge. This is big. I can't offer guidance in any space or in any capacity without having some more details. I can give you some general knowledge. I can share with you general knowledge, but I can't criticize what you're doing. I can't come in and, well, let me give you some constructive criticism because you told me that, for example, there's a gentleman, Alexander, and he was here a few days ago on this walk and talk, and he shared with me some general information about investments, what he wanted to do with his money. It was a little bit of information. I mean, we were able to walk through some general understandings of, hey, you can invest in this way, live your life as a business. You can move money in a certain way. You can have a focus and change the future, pay yourself into the future. There are some general principles to do, but there are some specifics that we don't know. We don't know if you have a 401k. Are you being paid through a W-2? Where are you living? What's your current house cost? What's the current mortgage? Would it make more sense to use that additional money to make a principal-only payment? We don't have all of those details. Those are the things we sit down and we talk about because they're options. But in order to do that, I can't do that without asking more questions. So who knows you best? Who's looking at you for who you're becoming versus who you've been to them? Who's looking at you for the things that you're working on and the skills and the person you're developing into versus what someone else has always told them you were? And why this is so important is because, as I said before, when we start to challenge ourselves, when we truly start to challenge ourselves, challenge the way that we've lived in the past, challenge our expectations that we've had for ourselves in the past, and we do that, we start to change. And as we start to change, we start to grow. And then as we go to talk to people's opinions, they have their whole entire life and their whole set of experiences. And so then people, when they come to you and they say, hey, I want to criticize. Well, listen, let me just tell you this. And then they come from this space, then it's not constructive criticism. There's one place, and I have to share this with my children all the time, is the one place where I'm not giving feedback is in raising my children, because you're not in a position to receive feedback until I've shaped you in a way to be able to understand the expectations. Because in chaos, it breeds chaos. Every time you see some child's life who started in chaos and they made something great, or they were able to do something great, every time that has happened in someone's life, they had to go from chaos to structure. It was the structure, whatever it was, in whatever circumstance, that allowed for them to grow and develop. But they had to grow and develop. And it did not change how people who knew them as one way continued to see them in that way. So we have to understand, who knows you best? Is it your family? Is it your spouse? Is it your friends? Do your coworkers know you better than your family does? Who knows you the best? Because the people who know you best are the people who are going to be there, and they're going to understand as you're growing that you're growing. And they're going to understand that, hey, because I know you best, and I know that you have the ability to grow, and I know that you're going through the growing process, the growth process now, and you're challenging yourself and you're changing, then I need to be there to back you. I need to be there to support you. I need to make sure that I'm not taking the worst version of you that I've ever known and then continuing to put that in front of you. Because there have been bad versions of me. I've been the bad guy. There was a large portion of my life where, without direction and without understanding and without any kind of knowledge or knowing of what to do next, as a broken young man, I felt the easiest way, and that was the first mistake I made, as I sought the easiest way to get to where I needed to be, was to brandish a firearm, was to walk around and demand that other people give to me what they worked hard for, because I was not prepared to change. If I'm constantly viewed as the worst version of myself, if I stay in a place where I personally view myself as the worst version of me, then where would I be? If I stay in circles where people knew the worst version of me, where would I be? And so this whole thing about disappear for 6 months, come back stronger, build a better version of you, be who you need to be, show them who you are. No, that's not what life is. Life is about challenge and change. You don't have to disappear. You just start to grow. You don't go to the same places to do the same things. You go to a library at 2 o'clock in the afternoon to build your knowledge and grow yourself mentally. You go to a church to build yourself emotionally and spiritually. If you're going to a nightclub and you're finding yourself on in other areas when you would like to be somewhere else, then you're not building on that. If you want to become a basketball player, you shouldn't be on a soccer field. That doesn't mean you don't still like your friends you used to play soccer with. It's just you've changed your focus. You're changing, you're challenging yourself. You're growing, so you are where you need to be to become who you want to become, the person who you need to become. So, are you disappearing? No. You're growing, you're changing. You're not going to be around the same people anymore. If you are still around the same people, there are significant challenges ahead of you. Because the people who are around you are growing and they're going where you're going. That's why if you talk to any of these people who made it into professional sports, and even some of them who didn't make it, they have these relationships that go back years. When you have players who sit down and say, yeah, I was from Cali and he's from Florida, but we went to an AAU camp in Wisconsin and we were there together. And that was 17 years ago. And then we met up again here. And then we decided to go here and we played against each other in college here. And those people have developed relationships because they were traveling the same path. And even for the ones that didn't go pro, even for the ones who aren't on your television playing in the NBA finals, even for those, they still have relationships with those people because they were traveling the same place. And they weren't traveling the same place as to become, or they're traveling the same path to become professional basketball players. They were traveling the same path to become the type of people who understand that we need this type of leadership. We need this type of friendship. We need this type of connection and community and networking in order for us to grow ourselves and help others to grow. Who knows you best? How well do you know yourself? This is what we need. This is how we need to grow. So I'm telling you, when I start talking about finances and I start talking about the structure of doing things with your money and moving them into different investments and understanding your portfolio and how to invest in stocks and what dividends are, we can go over that. We can cover it. And for most people, I'll be completely honest with you, it's simple. You're looking for long-term growth and you're really paying it into the next generation based on what your income level is. For most people, you're paying it into the next generation in the hopes that it will last more than just one additional generation. You're paying it forward. But here's the understanding that we have to that we must have in this process. That is secondary to understanding who we are. Because the best feedback that you can receive is from someone who understands your vision and are looking to help you get there. You can't criticize me until you understand where I'm trying to go and who I am. If we're talking about work, feedback for work is simple. I don't care what type of job you have. You need to show up on time. I don't need to know if you work for McDowell's, McDonald's, or Kraft Mac and Cheese. I don't care who you're working for, but if you have a responsibility to be there, be there. I don't have to tell you that it is important to understand, because here's the thing, we're prepared to give our loved ones, our family, constructive criticism without asking them questions. If there's something that you want to criticize, if there's an area of focus that we look at and we may deem, hey, I need to give you some tough love in this space because the challenges that you're having right now, if I need to give you some tough love in this space, it's about not asking yourself enough questions about what it is you're doing. I can't give you feedback if I don't know where you're going. If you don't know where you're going, what's the point? It's chaos. If you don't understand what it is you're trying to achieve, if you don't understand what type of investment you're making in what space and for why, then I can sit here and I can say, hey, well, you didn't speak clearly enough and you need to work on your delivery, and it was too long, and we didn't make enough eye contact and all of this other stuff. And it's like, oh, well, yeah, I'm really not trying to do that. I'm trying to be a comedian. I'm giving you feedback on how to be a salesperson. And you're like, I'm not trying to sell you anything. Those were all jokes. We have to understand where it's going. We have to have an understanding. You have to have an understanding. And then when we offer feedback, when we offer true advice, when we choose to advise versus criticize, it doesn't matter what happened. I explain this to my children all the time, and this is a very important piece of information, people. And all of these things will go towards your finances. All of these things will go towards building the future and the life that you're looking for. One of the things I explain to my children is if you get a problem wrong, if you do a math problem and you arrive at the wrong answer, stop trying to figure out what you did wrong, because it doesn't help. You need to figure out the right way to do the problem. That's what's important. You need to figure out what the right steps are. Man, what did I do so wrong? This is what we do in relationships and in life. You don't need an exit interview to figure out what you did wrong in a relationship, seeking closure. That's not what you need to do. What you need to do is, when you're in this relationship, you need to figure out, how do I become the best version of me, deserving of this person? And then if both of you are doing that, if both of you in the relationship are working on becoming the best version of you, who's worthy of the person who's across from you, then you build on that and you grow together. Versus, oh man, how do I not make this mistake again? It's not about making that mistake again. It's about the lessons that you learned and doing the right thing the next time. People always talk about, I need to break this habit, I need to break this habit, I need to break this habit. It's really hard to break a habit. It's a lot easier to replace it, because we're constantly going from one thing to another thing, but it starts with ourselves. And so when we're talking about constructive criticism, what we're really talking about is feedback. And feedback needs to start with you. We need to be self-aware and self-accountable. But I say this, but it's important to understand, you cannot be accountable to something to which you have set no standard. You cannot be accountable to something to which you have set no expectations. You cannot be held accountable for something where there is no goal. How can I say to you, hey, you didn't get here on time. You never gave me a time to be here. I can't say, hey man, let's talk. And you say, great, we're gonna talk. And then I come to you and I say, listen, we never got a chance to talk. Yeah, I know. You never told me when to talk. You never, you reached out to me. I don't know. What's the expectation? You can't have accountability where there's no expectation and there's no standard. If you have no standard and you have no expectation, then there's no accountability. Man, I'm just trying to make it to tomorrow. Okay. If that is as much as your expectation is, I have no constructive criticism for you. None. I can't offer you feedback. I can't tell you how I think your life should be, or what I think you should be doing, or what you should be doing differently, or how that's the wrong approach. I'm not going to tell you any of those things, because you're just trying to make it to tomorrow. Good luck. Good luck with that, man. I wish you the best. So, why is this important? Because, as I keep saying, when it comes to the question of who knows you best, who knows you in the version of you that you are becoming, and the version of you that you are working on, do you know yourself? Have you taken a look at yourself? Are you being critical of yourself? Have you set expectations of yourself? Are you prepared to meet those expectations? Or are we just standing here watching as life passes by? And I'm telling you, this is applicable to every area of life. This goes with how your relationships go. This goes with how your finances go. This goes with how your family is structured. This goes with how your job works, your ability to move up and advance in a company. All of these things are driven by the same principles. Starts with knowing you, man. Starts with knowing you. It starts with knowing what it is you're trying to do. Do you have a direction? Do you have anything that you're working on? Do you have anything that you're trying to accomplish? That's where it starts. That's where we have to build from. Guys, I'm always excited about having the opportunity to challenge myself, understanding that I'm changing myself and that I'm growing, I'm becoming stronger. And I encourage you all to do it. Find an area in your life where you can truly challenge yourself. And then when you seek feedback, do so in a manner that's going to help you continue to grow. You want the challenge, but ask for the challenge. For many people, I was a personal trainer for a long time. And what you often find is that a lot of personal trainers, especially the ones that I used to work with, would start their entire training process or their entire approach to clients with all of the things that they were doing wrong. And the client finally made it to the gym. Oh, let me tell you what you're doing wrong here. Oh, let me tell you what you're doing wrong there. And then we're looking at it and we're starting with this criticism. We're starting with this tearing down of the individual. And I spoke the other day about how powerful that is in terms of the way the military trains people and how it is an attempt to take control of you, not to empower you. The military has to break you down mentally, spiritually, emotionally, so that they can take charge of you and they can give you your purpose. And they have to reduce you as much as they possibly can until they break you down to the point where you're like, I can't take this anymore. I can't go any further. I can't. And then they build you back up with them as your support, with them as your voice, with them as your head and your protector and your guide. That's how the military trains people. That's what it does. It gives them purpose. If you can't do that in your own life, then the chaos that you live in will be structured and ordered by the rest of the world. If you don't have a plan for your life, trust me, someone else does. This is important, people, because as we take control, as we know ourselves, and as we surround ourselves with people who know us, and they give us this feedback, and they give us this insight into ourselves and who we are being and who we are showing up as, it allows for us to change and it allows for us to grow. It goes away from just the random activities and from now and then or from this point to that point. And it allows for us to be focused on development and growth. And then what you find is the people, and this is the point of this whole conversation about who knows you best. You're gonna find that the people who are there as you're growing, the people who identify, hey, I can see what's happening right now. I can see the path you're traveling. I can see the growth that you're making. I'm excited for you. I'm here for you. What can I do to help? Congratulations, good job. Keep up the good work. The people who see you as who you're becoming, the people who see the work that you're doing and they applaud it. And trust me, not everyone can. Not everyone can see it. Not everyone can congratulate it. Not everyone can applaud it. But for those who do, they become the people who know you best. They become the people who know you best. And so you don't disappear. You're not disappearing. Oh, your family's like, oh, you never talk to me anymore. I do talk to you. I do talk to you, but you still talk to me like the kid I was 23 years ago. You still talk to me like I'm that kid that got in a fight on the school bus and got suspended from school. You still talk to me like I'm that kid who lost his money. You still talk to me like I'm that young adult who got into a bad relationship. You still talk to me like I'm that worst version of me that you ever saw, that version of me that came to you and cried out for help. You still see me in those eyes. You still see me through that lens. You still see me in that way, and you can't see who I am or where I'm going, and so you don't support me, and you don't support what I'm doing. And when those types of people are there, they know you the least because they are the least concerned with what you're doing. They are not asking questions. They're not seeking to understand. They're not trying to get an understanding. They're trying to tell you what you got to do and who you got to be for who they want to see you be, versus trying to understand who you are, who you're becoming, and how they can help you become that. I don't need you to pay my bills. I don't need you to support me. I don't need you to come out and sugarcoat me and pat me on my back and tell me everything is fine. I don't need that. What I do need is I need you to understand. I need you to care enough to at least ask, to seek understanding of the journey and the path that I'm on and where I'm headed to. This is what we need. These are the people who know you best. Hey guys, I always encourage that we get up and we invest into ourselves and into our future. We invest into the direction that we're headed in with the understanding that the work that we do on ourselves will have a return in multiple areas, in multiple ways. This is not just about saying, hey, I want to be rich, or hey, I want to be a leader on the job, or hey, I'm trying to get a pretty wife. It's not about any of those things. It is about us becoming the person we need to be, deserving of the things that we say we want in our life. And it requires focus. It requires discipline. There are 4 simple pillars to discipline that you can apply towards anything that will help you achieve anything. Because as you work towards mastery, you're guaranteed to see success. And these pillars are very simple. It's 4. The first one is repetition. Repetition is just showing up. I don't care what it is you're trying to accomplish. I don't care what it is that you're trying to do. You just need to show up. We're not even at your performance yet. You just need to know whatever it is you're working on, whether you're trying to save money, whether you're trying to build a relationship, whether you're trying to start a business, whatever it is, you're trying to get good grades in school, the first thing you have to do is show up to the times you need to be where you need to be to work on that. The next thing you need to do is be patient. You need to understand that 20 days at 1 hour a day is a lot better than 1 day with 20 hours. Your returns are going to be better. The recovery, the benefits, the insight, the knowledge, it's all going to be better because you're putting time into it over time. The next thing is going to be consistency. And consistency requires a plan. Because in order for you to be consistent, you must have a standard at which to achieve. You must have a standard that you're working towards. Consistency is about showing up and putting in the work on a regular basis to show the growth, the improvement, and the expectations that you're seeking to hit. And then you're going to be followed up with perseverance. Perseverance is going to close it out. And the reason perseverance is going to close it out is because perseverance is what's going to give you that breakthrough. Perseverance is that thing at the end where you've been repetitious. You've shown up on a regular basis. You've been patient. You've waited months. You've waited weeks. You've put in the work for years. And then you've been consistent. You've been growing. You've been getting smarter. You've been getting stronger. You've been doing the things that needed to be done. And then you get to the point where you think this is it and it doesn't happen. Oh, it's devastating. When you think you've done everything that you needed to do, you've waited, you've been through hard time after hard time. And it's like, oh my goodness, I can't take another no. I'm going out there, I'm gonna get another no. I'm going out there and I've grown and I've understood and I've learned and I've made adjustments and I've adapted and I'm continuing to work. And then when you persevere, that perseverance is what pushes you forward. That perseverance shapes you. Everything you do works on the thing. Perseverance works on you. Even when you're working on you. If you're working on you for fitness and you go out and you're like, hey, I just need to get to the gym on a regular basis. Perfect. You're getting to the gym. That's work on the goal, which is I want to be more fit. I want to be in better physical condition. The next thing that you're working on is you're going out and you say, hey, well, now that I've gotten to the point where I'm getting here, I got to be patient. I know I'm not going to be bench pressing 315 pounds tomorrow. I get it. It's going to take time. I want to continue to work. Now there's consistency. I have a plan. I do chest on certain days. I do back on certain days. I work push and pull. I do legs. I understand the difference between the eccentric and the concentric. I understand the differences between plyometrics and which are explosive, and then your static workouts. I know these things. I know the difference. I'm learning. I'm getting better. I'm improving in my skills. That is the consistency. And the perseverance is when you get there and you go and you just did 305 last week and you're like, this is my time to do 315. And then you don't get it. And then you go and you're like, this is my time to get 315. And then you sprain a shoulder, or you get a pain, or you have to travel for work and you don't get it. You were so close. You're like, this is my time to get it. And oh man, you know what? I'm in a relationship. I met someone, they're special to me. We're going away, and I've agreed, because I spend so much time in the gym, that while I'm away, I'm not gonna go to the gym while we're away. We're gonna spend our time together. So it's 2 weeks of me out of the gym. And then you go back to the gym and you were at 305, now you're down to 290, 285. And you're like, man, I have to continue to work. Perseverance is when you had that point where it says, it doesn't matter really. It's only 315 pounds. What's the big deal? Who cares? It's just bench pressing. Like, dude, that's so insignificant. It's such a small thing. But you've been working on this now for over a year. You know where you've come from. You knew where you started. You remember the challenge of 145 pounds, 125 pounds, 225 pounds. You remember how hard it was to get there and the work that you had to do in order to achieve it. This is where perseverance is built. It is because perseverance is what pushes you over the top. Perseverance doesn't work on the thing. Perseverance works on you. This is why we have to apply these simple principles of discipline, because when we apply these simple principles of discipline, not only, as I said before, as we work towards mastery, we're going to see success. As you work towards 315, you're going to get to 105. You're going to get to 225. You're going to get to 275, 290, 300. You're going to get there on your way to 315. So as we work on mastery, we will achieve success. But what we have to understand, that last one, that perseverance is not about doing 315. Perseverance, persevering through all of these things, is not about achieving that final goal. Everything that you're doing is working on whatever you're working on. Perseverance is working on you. Perseverance is what makes you who you need to be for whatever that thing it is that you need to do. I don't care if it's saving money. I don't care if it's saving a marriage. I don't care if it's trying to start a business. No matter what that thing is, you do it better as you focus on doing it better. Guys, it's always important. It's always a major part of who we are, who we're going to be, and how we're going to grow, to understand the work that we're doing and how we have to set a standard for ourselves. Accountability for ourselves require expectations. And so the question of who knows you best should start with you. You should know you best. You should know where you're going. You should have asked yourself the questions to understand why you have the purpose that you have. Principles and purpose, with the 4 pillars of discipline, give you the ability to always be successful. It guarantees success. Success isn't an option. Success isn't something that may happen. Success is a guarantee. It guarantees success on your way to mastery. And when you apply those principles to what you're doing, nothing you do is ever a failure. It is always an opportunity to learn. It is always an opportunity to grow. It is always an understanding of why you're doing what you're doing and what you're building in the process. So who knows you best, guys? Ask the question, are you prepared to give and take tough feedback from yourself? Are you prepared to do the work, to grow, to continue to challenge yourself and change? If you are, you're in the right place, guys. As always, to support this channel, you can always support at the link at the top of the comments. And if you're looking for more ways to get support and reach me directly, that's also available on the link on the description of the page. And as I say every day, guys, continue to show up, continue to blow up, and watch yourself grow up. Thank you, and God bless.